The Biden administration, however, wants to pay close attention to what you're saying, or maybe if you're a parent going to one of your school board meetings to give your advice, you may get a knock on your door from the FBI if they had their way, right? Let me get to Sean Themea. He is with, of course, the Young Americans for Liberty, and it's great to get him on here this morning. Sean, how are you?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great. Thanks for being here, or rather, thanks for having me.
Well, yeah,
you're always here.
I'm glad you're here. And any reaction to Don Lemon letting us know that CNN is not a liberal outlet?
Well, I think that the first thing that Nina Jankowicz, over in her new capacity as a foreign agent for the UK, should do with her little disinformation company is label Don Lemon's comment as disinformation. I mean, it's only fair. You got to call it for what it is. Yeah, the Clinton News Network was never liberal. Give me a break.
Yeah. Just for background, tell people a little bit about Young Americans for Liberty.
Absolutely. So Young Americans for Liberty, we're the only group out there that is training college students how to fight back and change policy, whether it is fighting vaccine mandates and self-defense bans on campus. You wouldn't believe how many college campuses ban pepper spray, really teaching them the skills with how to overturn those type of policies and teaching students how to get involved in the electoral process and the public policy process, helping them to pass legislation like constitutional carry in Indiana, school choice in Kentucky and Missouri, getting young people involved in changing the world around them by changing the laws around them. And I'm just so proud of the team.
Well, I am happy that there's a group out there doing that. I mean, it's got to be an uphill battle. How long have you guys been at this now?
Yeah, so we have been around since 2009 or so. So the grand scheme of things, not that long, but that's why we fight twice as hard.
I saw some statistics after the midterm elections that said younger people in this country, I believe it was 18 to 25 or 18 to 27, something like that, broke for Democrats plus 28. So clearly there's a lot of work to be done to get people who've gone off to college and suddenly been brainwashed, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it goes in waves. In 2016, I think it went 48 to 39, the youth vote for Trump. And so, you just look at kind of the narratives that are being presented, what messaging is being presented now. And, the Democrats won the youth vote this time. But so we got to adapt a little bit. We got to make sure that we're actually reaching folks and want to get them out there and get them to vote for the right candidates. So It's not impossible. But you look at a failure of the consultants, I think, in this cycle.
Yeah, very true. Sean Themea is with us this morning from Young Americans for Liberty. You were talking about Nina Jankowicz. She was the one who had been picked to be the disinformation czar for the administration, and then she backed out or they kind of did away with that. She's moved on. Tell me again what she's doing now. She's working as a foreign agent?
Yeah, it makes sense because the idea that the one person can regulate and have a monopoly on what is truth and what is misinformation on the internet, I mean, that's a highly un-American idea. And the American people rejected that. Great victory. It's usually doom and gloom politics is, but Biden says, I want a ministry of truth and I want this one to run it. And the American people said, heck no. And in 4 months, the whole thing was scrapped. This was earlier this year, you might remember. Now she's over in the UK. She's working for a nonprofit that is explicitly, leftist in their views. They say, oh, we want what's good for women and minorities, and that's why we need to control the internet. They're going to try and police the internet, but the American people prefer Elon Musk. The American people prefer, an open source of information and truth, and they're growing more vocal in rejecting this idea that we can just slap, misinformation labels on things. Because they're seeing how partisan it is. They're seeing in the COVID era that, the misinformation of yesterday is the truth of today. So I think that this is a floundering effort by people like Nina who want power, who want to, bend the internet to their will of the world. But it's just not working, and it's not going to work.
Sean, how are college students or younger people, how do they view the effort by big tech in this country to really filter information? I mean, so many young people only get their information through social media.
Yeah, so there's a accurate stereotype of this generation. I'm on the older end of that generation. That it's the coddled generation. They want to be safe. They want to be free from opposing views. They're scared of microaggressions. But I think that was taken to an extreme where you see what big tech is doing, and it's been a wake-up call to a lot of college students, a lot of high school students that are saying, wait a minute, I thought I wanted to be protected from all this offensive speech, but I don't want that to come at the expense of me not being able to access, certain opposing views on the internet. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. I mean, at the end of the day, they want to have the liberty to seek out the information they want to seek. They don't want to see opposing views being shut out to that level. I mean, there's a difference between disinviting a speaker and being part of a kind of a campus movement to say, yay, this is a bad Republican speaker, go away, and then seeing, all the censorship on the internet. They see that as a step too far, and so we're starting to see the trends reversing. Yeah, well, it's about time. Sean Themea, the people can find out more. Maybe they want to let their kids know about Young Americans for Liberty. YALiberty.org is the address, correct? That's correct. YALiberty.org. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us pretty much anywhere. Sounds good. Sean Themea, thanks for your time this morning. Hey, thanks for having me. You bet. Keep up the good work. We need more of that input, clearly.